Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As you probably know, the President of United States of America, Joe Biden, had a phone conversation or Zoom meeting with Xi Jinping of China, and regarding Taiwan, and most importantly regarding that the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who plans on visiting Taiwan, and the Chinese government issued strong warnings that they will employ a military in not allowing her to land in Taiwan. Now the Americans said, we're going to send some fighter jets to to join her plane and some ships and all that. So an escalation for a person who wants to visit Taiwan. Now the things are very complicated here because it's a lot of unsettled things. The first thing is, well, I think you belong to me, but you don't think you belong to me. But it's strange. And then you have a friend, but actually I tell you if you can have that friend. But you're free, but you're not free. You belong to me, but you think you're free. So it's a combination like China says, well, Taiwan is part of China and so on. Okay, they do not agree with your statement, but then you say, well, I don't want Pelosi to land in Taiwan. Well, they don't care what you say because they don't think you are their boss, but you think you are their boss. So it's, which way is it? Eventually this will end up with an accident, or maybe really a direct confrontation between United States and China. But I don't know if there's going to be United States or through its proxies as Ukraine. So let's see what's going on here during this what happened during this conversation between Xi Jinping and President Biden. This comes from Associated Press and says from today, July 28, 2022, China's Xi gave Biden a fiery warning on Taiwan, Beijing says. And I'm quoting, those who play with fire will perish by it, said China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It is hoped that the US will be clear-eyed about this. All right, President Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, China's Xi Jinping, spent more than 2 hours. I doubt that. I doubt that Biden could really function in a state of conscious for 2 hours and follow a conversation. I'm bad? No, I really believe that he can't. I heard him when he went to, I just watched some videos when he said certain things in Saudi Arabia. I saw him in Israel for about 2 minutes, not 2 hours, for 2 minutes. And he couldn't perform as a normal, functional human being. Observation. Watch it. Go on YouTube. They're all available. And 2 hours Thursday, talking through the future of the complicated relationship, with the flashpoint of Taiwan once again emerging as a key point of tension. According to a description of the call released by Beijing, Xi emphasized China's claim over the island, which has governed itself for decades. And I'm quoting, those who play with fire will perish by it. It's the same thing, who lives by the sword will die by the sword. According to a Ministry of Foreign Affairs statement, and I'm quoting, it is hoped that the US will be clear-eyed about this. The call follows the two leaders' conversation on March 18th as a series of conversation between the high-level US and Chinese officials. According to the White House, the two presidents discussed a range of issues important to the bilateral relationship and other regional and global issues, and tasked their teams to continue following up on today's conversation, in particular to address climate change and healthy security. Everybody is entitled to security, but Russia, it seems like. On Taiwan, President Biden underscored that the United States policy has not changed and that the United States strongly opposes unilateral efforts to change the status quo or undermine peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. As usual, China left no doubt that it blames the US for the deterioration relationship between the two countries. And there are issues we can cooperate with China on, and there are issues where obviously there are friction and tension. John Kirby, National Security Council, a weasel. And I'm quoting, President Xi underscored that to approach and define China-US relations in terms of strategic competition and view China as the primary rival and the most serious long-term challenge would be misperceiving China-US relations and misreading China's development, and would mislead the people of the two countries and the international community, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said. The call took place as Biden aims to find new ways to work with China and contain its influence around the world. How can this could be in the same sentence? He's trying to ways to work with China and contain its influence and block it. How can you have a way to discuss and cooperate to work with it, but you want to impose something on it, you want to limit it? How is that possible? I know how it's possible. As Lavrov said, these guys want to say, you do this, and if you don't do this, they're going to hurt you. The same here. We're going to work with you as long as you do what we say you do. If you don't, sanctions, we're going to hurt you somehow, we're going to threaten you somehow. Different perspectives on global health, economic policy and human rights have long tested the relationship, with Canada's refusal to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine adding further strain. Well, they're allies. What do you want? And who pushed them together? Your arrogance. That's what it is. Short-sighted policy. The latest pressure point has been House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's potential visit to Taiwan, which has a democratic government and receives informal defensive support from the US, but which China considers part of its territory. You see that? You belong to me, but I don't belong to you. We don't have any relationship, but I don't let you have with anybody else, but you have because you don't belong. And it's been going like this. And China becomes stronger and stronger. That means at one point it's going to say, what are you going to do about it? Really? That's what's probably going to happen. Beijing has said it would view such a trip as a provocation, a threat US officials are taking with heightened seriousness in light of Russia's incursion into Ukraine. And I'm quoting, if the US insists on going its own way and challenging China's bottom line, it will surely be met with forceful response, Zhao Lian, a spokesperson for China's foreign ministry, told reporters earlier this week. She didn't say that, she said even harsher than that. All ensuing consequences shall be borne by the US. She said the military will not stay idle. Pelosi would be the highest-ranking U.S. elected official to travel to Taiwan since Republican Newt Gingrich visited the island in 1997 when he was House Speaker. Biden last week told reporters that U.S. military officials believed it was not a good idea for the Speaker to visit the island at the moment. John Kirby, a U.S. national security spokesman, said Wednesday that it was important for Biden and Xi to regularly touch base. The president wants to make sure that the lines of communication with President Xi remain open because they need to. Oh, but with Russia did not. They just opened it now for that woman basketball player. That was so important. They have to contact the Russians since February 24th. It's really, that's, and then they wonder why China and Russia are dancing together. There are issues we can cooperate with China on, and there are issues where obviously there are frictions and tension. Biden and Xi last spoke in March, shortly after Russian invasion of Ukraine. This is one of the most consequential bilateral relationships in the world today, with ramifications well beyond both individual countries, Kirby said. Yeah, a little bit past too late. Biden has moved to shift the U.S. away from reliance on China manufacturing, including Senate passage Wednesday of legislation to encourage semiconductor companies to build more high-tech plants in the U.S. What about this? Who's going to make this? Shoes and other stuff? Who's going to make them? Semiconductors. We know where that goes. Well, this is, and then obviously it was talking about the human rights violations, which they always go over there, but the Chinese probably did the same thing as they always hit back, like the Saudis hit back at the United States when they tried to talk about Khashoggi's murder, and Mohammed bin Salman, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, mentioned Abu Ghraib. Remember that prison Abu Ghraib from Iraq? He said, well, if you want to talk about abuse, you're not clean either. Well, I have to have a little bit of balls to be able to say this, and have to make sure that they will not create a little regime change in your country, so you have to be kind of stable. So that's it. China again said we're not going to bow down. President tells what's her name, Pelosi, maybe it's not a good idea. They can't afford having two Ukraines, one in Ukraine and one in Taiwan. But who knows? These guys, they really play with too much fire. And we are just here and waiting like sitting ducks, the sky to fall on us, because some Kirkbys or some Blinkens or some Bidens or whomever other weasels decided for us. We're so treated like children by these guys because we act like, seems like. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.